All right, welcome everyone to another episode of A2SportsMedia's predictions. Today we're following up our Sweet 16 episode with a Final Four predictions episode. So we'll be going through our predictions for the two Final Four games and then the championship as well. So yeah, it's gonna do it.
All right. The first game is Baylor Houston. Houston a 2 seed and Baylor a 1 seed. Obviously, Baylor has been probably the second best team in the country all year long, with some exception to Michigan, maybe being in there at some point of the year. But they've looked really good. They've really looked like the only team that can beat Gonzaga. So for this matchup, I think I have Baylor winning. I don't know if Houston has had the easiest path of all time to the Final Four. So I think Baylor's gonna handle business.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Houston has only played double-digit seeds. First time anyone's been able to do that. So they've had pretty lucky and easy path, and they've struggled in some games. They only beat Rutgers by 3 or so, and then Oregon State was a close game. They were ahead most of the time, but it still ended up being a relatively close
I think
game.
it was a questionable call at the end or something like that too. I think I heard that. So maybe they shouldn't have even won in the first place. But
What game are you talking about? Oregon
the
State.
Oregon State Houston game.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think so. They
Okay.
were.
I mean, they were up big at some points. Oregon State kind of pulled back, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Houston does have a lot of talent. They got Grimes, of course, and Giroux, who could compete with obviously the guards and pretty much everyone at Baylor who is super talented.
Yeah.
Um,
They got this guy in the picture right here.
yeah, they have the ability to stay with them, but I don't see them beating Baylor.
Yeah. And Baylor's defense, everybody talks about their guards like offensively, but their defense has been really good in the tournament, like as it was before their COVID pause, and they're kind of looking like they were like just as good as they were then. So yeah, I think everybody wanted to see Gonzaga Baylor, and it's looking like we're probably going to get that. So
Yeah, I agree. I got Baylor on this one. Mitchell and their other guard, just super athletic, great scorers, and they have a bunch of wings and bigs who can also shoot and score the ball, and they're super athletic on defense. So I don't think Houston has the shooting or like the offensive capability to keep up with Baylor.
And the thing is, Baylor's best regular season player, the first team All-American, Jared Butler, has not had a great tournament.
Yeah.
But I mean, all those guys are capable of having big performances.
Especially Davion Mitchell.
No. All right. And now the second game, we have UCLA coming off their, how many games? 5?
4 or 5? Is it
4 game run from their first 4 to the Final Four, and against
second team to ever do that.
Yeah.
Who was the other team who did that?
VCU.
Okay.
I believe. Against the favorite to win it all, Gonzaga, who have looked really good.
Yeah.
And UCLA, they've been in all close games, predictable for a first 4 team, but they've won basically all super close games other than Abilene Christian.
2 overtime games too.
Yeah, and you can make the argument, at least for the Michigan game, the team they were playing had a very poor performance. Michigan had its lowest scoring output of the season, and just looked like worse than they have all season. So you could say that UCLA has been lucky in that regard, but they have played a lot of good teams and beat them.
The Alabama, Michigan State, who was kind of hot at the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean they're really good, but one thing is Corey Kispert hasn't even played well this tournament, and they still beat everybody by 20. I mean, like, one game, at least one of these games, one of these last 2 games, he's going to get going, and I don't think anybody can beat them if he gets going, because he's like probably their best player right now. Like, he probably like the most talented currently player on their team, and he hasn't even been playing well. So I think you could say Suggs, but I mean,
yeah,
I think right now, potential wise, definitely Suggs. But like,
a lot of UCLA's run has just entirely depended on Johnny Juzang, the leading scorer in the tournament. He's against Michigan, carried the team against Michigan State. He scored a lot of points every game, and Gonzaga's really well coached defensively, and it's hard to see. Juzang, the only way UCLA has any chance here is if Juzang has another huge game. But even if Michigan had played better offensively, even with Juzang's huge game, there still was an easy path to victory for Michigan. So, Gonzaga is a much better team offensively than Michigan. Just have a great system, Drew Timme on the inside, and then have great shooters, great guard play from Suggs. So they're just such a well-rounded offensive team. It's hard to see them slump like Michigan did. And UCLA just doesn't have enough scorers to keep up with Gonzaga.
Yeah. The only way that UCLA can win this game is any one of their other players are going to step up, like Jaquez or Campbell. But the other thing is, I have a hard time seeing anybody on UCLA being able to guard Suggs. If they're going to put Campbell on him, I think he's going to get exposed. They just have too many guys, and UCLA doesn't have much size. They have a good starting big, but other than that, they're very weak in the inside, and Gonzaga obviously has guys who can attack and Timme who can play well in the post.
So. Yeah, although Riley was in a lot of foul trouble against Michigan, and their backup big played really well too. So it seems like they have a little depth in terms of
he played well, but he's definitely a liability.
Oh yeah, offensively. I mean, he was decent defensively, but didn't look like he was doing much offensively.
Yeah, I mean, so Carlos, who couldn't make it, he wants me to share that he's taken UCLA in the upset with Juzang having like a 30-point game, which, I mean, you never know. I mean, the way UCLA has been playing, I mean, sure, they've gotten maybe a little bit lucky in terms of how their opponents have played, but I mean, maybe that's something to do with them, like you got to give them credit for coming this far. So who knows, they obviously don't want to lose. They've come this far. So,
Yeah. Just when you look at Gonzaga, hasn't won by any less than like 15 or something. So
yeah, no, I mean, I don't see them losing. I mean, they've just made everybody they play look awful.
It would take a huge March Madness upset for sure.
Yeah. Who did they play last week? Gonzaga.
They played Creighton.
They played Creighton the week before that.
And
who did they play in the Elite Eight?
Played USC in the Elite
Eight. Yeah, I mean, they made USC, who's been a really good team in this tournament. They beat them by like 20. They were winning by 24 at one point. I mean, like
they were winning by 20 the whole game. USC looked awful, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like
Timme exposed Evan Mobley.
Yeah, I know.
As a defender.
So I don't know. I just don't see anybody beating them. Yeah. If anybody, it's Baylor, but I don't even really think that's going to happen. So
yeah.
The other thing is, like, nobody's put Gonzaga out of the rhythm this year.
Yeah.
And
maybe BYU in that one game a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, they still scored like how many points.
Yeah, I mean, they still scored like 80.
And UCLA obviously put Michigan out of the rhythm. I don't know if it was them who did it, but if they take Gonzaga out of the rhythm and expose something else that we haven't seen at Gonzaga, that's definitely possible.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, if you look at them on paper, what is there to expose? I mean, they have
what I'm saying is, like, nobody has exposed anything.
Yeah,
so
no, I know.
You can't see that on paper.
I don't think there's really much, like, I mean, there's probably something, but I don't know.
I mean, maybe get Timme in foul trouble, something like that.
Yeah, but has that happened to him all year?
Yeah, well, all the more reason that if it did, they wouldn't be ready for it.
Yeah.
So something weird has to happen for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
But in terms of the championship, it's going to be a great matchup, assuming Gonzaga and Baylor win as we are right now. The matchup a lot of people wanted to see, the two best teams basically all year. So it's going to be a great game.
Yeah. Maybe there'll be an upset right here. We'll always see like Gonzaga, Houston, or something like that. But I just don't see it happening. But this tournament has been crazy, so you never know.
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of the championship, I'm picking Gonzaga. I think they're just a little bit more well-rounded offensively and super, super well coached. So I like them to win the national championship as of now.
I'm doing the same.
Yeah, I'll go with Gonzaga too. They'll be the first undefeated team
Like
since
what, 40 years?
76 or whatever.
Yeah.
72. So
Yeah.
taking Gonzaga.
All right. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe, and we'll see you in our next prediction episode.